Welcome to the Woodshed with Cody Wood on the Equus Radio Network. This is a place for honest talk with real stories from some amazing guests. Here we talk about life, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. From small town roots to big dreams. From the rodeo arena to the back porch, we dive into what makes us who we are. So whether you're chasing 8 seconds or just trying to make it through the day, you've got a spot right here in the Woodshed. Here's your host, Cody Wood.
Well, welcome everybody. This is Cody Wood with the Woodshed here on the Equus Radio Network. I'm joined today with Chase Pope, and a great steer wrestler getting up and down the road. And right now we're just coming off the 4th of July weekend, 2025 season. And Chase, thank you so much for being here with me today.
You bet, man. You bet. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I know. And it's always good to kind of get together with some other cowboys and talk about the rodeo road, especially right here coming off the 4th of July and stuff. And so you've been steer wrestling for quite some time.
Yes, sir. I guess I started steer wrestling in '99, so been doing it a long minute.
Yeah, been doing it for a good little while. How'd you get started in rodeo and steer wrestling?
Rodeo, man, we just grew up with it. I think I was 5 years old, first rodeo I ever entered. It was down in Florida. They had pee-wee rodeos, and we'd enter them. And Dad was in rodeo, and just it's always kind of been a part of our deal my whole life. And then the steer wrestling side of things, I got started with that when I was between my freshman and sophomore year of high school. I weighed all of 105 pounds, and I went to a Rope Myers bulldogging school, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, man, I tell you, you've seen those Rope Meyer schools, and be posted every time, and you hear some feedback, and I imagine there is a lot of great steer wrestlers that started out the exact same way as you. Myself, like I said, I grew up. My dad rode bulls, and being a little bit bigger guy, I did steer wrestle some. Went to a school up here. Went to 3 different schools. But man, I always wanted to get down south and get to that Rope Meyer school. What other events did you do back when you were young?
Oh man, I've done every event in rodeo. Not successful at all of them. I rode bulls for a year. My dad was a bull rider. I rode bulls for about a year, and in 365 days, I managed to get one of them rode. I said, you know what, maybe this ain't my spot. And in high school, high school rodeo, I team roped and rode saddle broncs and bulldogged. And then into college, I started roping calves in college, and I roped calves and rode saddle broncs and bulldogged in college rodeo.
Nice. I mean, you kind of took the all-around path for a good little while, then a little longer than most. Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. I just kind of got. I loved every piece of it. Yeah. I loved every piece of the rodeo deal. Like I just laughed. Like we love it.
Yeah. And that's why it's so good to get together and have some of these conversations like that, and then keep those conversations going for some of these, younger guys that are just coming up, and especially in events like steer wrestling, that is so valuable and so just such an awesome, aspect of rodeo and the cowboy way of life. But so when you were going, where did you college rodeo at?
I actually went to college in Tucumcari, New Mexico, a little college called Mesa Land Community College. Danny Garcia was my rodeo coach. We rodeoed in the South. I just went blank. Not in the South. In the where Tarleton and all them.
Yeah,
Canyon, all them.
That's a pretty tough region.
What the hell it's called? But yeah, it was tough. Yes, sir. Very tough. Like we bulldogged against some pretty toughs, like Hunter Cure, like all through high school and college. Hunter's a year older than me. That sucker has won more money from me than you could imagine. Bray Arms, there's a bunch of them guys that were pretty stinking tough through there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when you were riding broncs and roping calves and stuff, what was it about the steer wrestling path that just seemed to be the clear, better option for you out of those 3?
To be honest, I feel like that's the funnest.
Yeah.
It's, everybody talks about bull riding and all that, and adrenaline rush and all the things. And man, there's just something about running 30 mile an hour and jumping off on a steer that it's better than the rest of them. And I've kind of always been kind of that adrenaline junkie, that looking for that thing that made me run a little faster. And bulldogging was just the one.
Yeah, I could see that. I in no way, shape, or form would attest to being at your level or by no means. But like I said, the little bit that I have done it and gone to a few of those schools, you're right. I mean, I absolutely love that feeling of when you're backing into the box, nodding your head and just getting, shot out of a gun, essentially. It's hard to replace,
Yes,
and then when it goes right, when you bury that horn and I mean, it just feels effortless, that's a feeling like no other that, hopefully more and more people continue to find and get, more and more involved in the steer wrestling world. And, so when you're looking at, because you've been rodeoing for a good while, man, you've been putting together a lot of different accolades, if you will, through the UPRA, the CPRA, and multi, finalists in both of those, as well as the LARC. I mean, how's the season going for you right now, and kind of, where do you see yourself going right now here in 2025?
It's been good. It's like just the way this game's played, rodeo. It's been up and down. I mean, you got to lose a lot to win a little. That's just rodeo. But it's been a good year. Like I say, I think I'm sitting second or third. I don't know that. I don't think they figured what we've done over the fourth yet. I'm sitting second or third in the UPRA, winning the CPRA, and not exactly where I want to be in the PRCA and the circuit deal, but there's still a chance, and that's all I could ask for at this time of year is there's a chance. And so, man, it's looking good. The hopes are to make as many finals as I can. The big plan for 2025 for me is to make the circuit finals. I'm not no young pup anymore, but I bought my permit really this year. I've never PRCA rodeoed and should have, but I kind of let the fear of not being good enough and all the things that's so easy to walk in there keep me from doing that. But stepped into it this year, and we've been going like crazy, and that's kind of been the number one goal is make the circuit finals.
Yeah, well, and that is a great goal to have. And like I said, I think there's a lot of people that are in your same situation, right? That, kind of find their niche. They start having some success and not knowing when to make that jump, you know what I mean? And to pull the trigger on their permit or whatnot. And, I actually had a similar conversation like that just this last weekend, but essentially, I mean, right now on your permit, your rookie year or whatnot, being number 21 in the Southeastern circuit, almost close to $4,000 won. I mean, that's still pretty darn good and something to really be proud of at the moment, especially coming in just here the first part of July, right? When you look at the Southeastern circuit, I mean, that's stacked, with bulldoggers. You got Will Loomis and some other, wolves in there, and to be getting inside that top 12, I mean, so you still got quite a bit of season left, and I hope that pans out for you, and making it to Southeastern circuit and then being the CPRA champion, the UPRA champion, that'd be quite the year for you.
Betcha. Yes, sir, for sure.
Yeah, I know when you're going down. Speaking of going down the road and things, you got a specific traveling partner you go with primarily. You go with your family. How does that look for you?
Yes, sir. I have a guy that I go to most of them with. His name's Cody Carpenter. He's from Willis, Texas, kind of just north of Houston. North of Houston, but Cody goes with me. That's our main deal. I got some other guys I go with, but Cody's kind of my main squeeze, if you will. He's got an outstanding team of horses, and so we use his Hazen horse. I ride my own horse. I ride his horse some too, but it's a pretty good partnership for sure.
Yeah, that's so important to have in any event. But that's exactly where I was going with that question. With the horses, I mean, when you're talking about, dog and steers and the Hazen horse and just the difference from one to the other and how that can play a role. So how many horses do you guys usually haul with you?
We usually take 3. He's got a bulldogging horse and a Hazen horse, and then I got my bulldogging horse that we take. He actually doesn't haze, and so I've got to meet a lot of new people this year, kind of trial by fire, but been blessed. The bulldogging deal is amazing. I'm not to say that rodeo period's not that way, but I feel like bulldogging is just a tighter knit group. Like I've called a lot of people I've never met and say, "Hey man, I need a haze," and they're like, "Shoot, be glad to." You know what I mean? Everybody's on the same team on that deal. But that Cody's got a gray horse on the haze side that I'm pretty sure if you can sit on one, you can haze him. You know what I mean? Like he is so easy, and man, he's been a huge blessing in the deal that I didn't have to worry about that side of things. You know what I mean? I put about anybody on there and get them hazed on him, so that's pretty handy.
Yeah, it's amazing what a good horse will do for you, and like I said, especially in the steer wrestling side of things. I mean, your current dogging horse. How long you been riding him, and how's he doing?
Yeah, it's actually a mare.
There
We've been bulldogging on her for, I guess this would be year 3, I believe, that we've started really hauling her. I've had her for, oh, I've probably had her about 5 or 6 years now. She was just a really good ranch horse before, and I was riding some other horses, just getting on, jumping on other bulldogging horses, and kind of went with a guy that had a horse, and man, we just didn't get along, wasn't getting along, and kind of one thing led to another, and I was like, you know what, I think she'd do it. I'd haze some on her, I'd roped a bunch of steers on her, and I thought, you know what, I think she'll do this deal, and we went and run her by some. I actually sent her to a good friend of mine that's Bulldogs, Justin Schaefer, and he put the first runs on her, and I told him when I sent him, I said, Justin, I don't make her do this deal. Like, I'm okay with her just being the Bay Mare, but he had her about a week, and I called him. I said, what do you think? He said, dude, she's going to make one. And she's been great ever since then. And man, I get along with her really, really good. And she's pretty cool. And like I said, and then Cody's got a little roan mare that we bulldog on too, that it's just been cool to have both of them in the trailer, which, kind of that you can really get along with,
Yeah, for sure.
Horses sometimes not I say picky, not because of anything other than I do a lot of things wrong, and I need to ride horse to not screw me up when I do all the things wrong, so.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that'd be a common answer from a lot of guys, right? That is definitely quite the marriage or whatnot, and you got to be compatible and everything kind of flow and it's in the right path for sure. I mean, when you're looking back at your career, because like I said, you've been rodeoing a long time, which I just absolutely love and admire, because when there's guys like yourself and you've been doing it and you continue to do it at a high level and continue to, have the drive to get better and to improve and all that, that means you absolutely love this sport, and when you find folks like that, I just love that aspect, and so, when you're looking back at your career and where you're kind of coming from now, I mean, what are maybe some of the more challenging things that you've had to overcome to keep this drive and to keep you being, at your age that you're at right now and still driven to make the Southeastern Circuit finals and that sort of thing? Has there been some things you really had to overcome?
Man, I've had some injuries. I tore the knee broken calves when I was in college and had to get over that. And then I tore one at I was 36. I tore the other knee actually riding a bronc. And had to get over the injuries and stuff. And, the thing that's probably been the biggest struggle, and I think a lot of guys would probably agree with this, but it's been the mental game. Like I said, here I am 40 years old and I'm on my permit trying to make the circuit finals for the first time in my life. And the truth is I didn't do it before because I believed all the stuff, finances and all the things, kids and life. And I mean, I could make every excuse in the world. And, at the end of the deal, you can make excuses or you can make moves, and I've just learned that it's just been cool. This year's really showed me that just go, and I believed all the stuff. I couldn't afford it. I wasn't good enough, all the things. And man, they ain't just rodeos, you know what I mean? And if you succeed at a amateur level, especially in Texas on the, I don't know about other states, but like, especially East Texas right down here in the hub of the UPRA and all that, you can succeed in a pro rodeo too, because you're rodeoing against the same guys, and so
Absolutely.
If I said my biggest holdup in all of it would be is just believing that I had what it takes, like I said, when I got started, I weighed 115 pounds, or 110 or whatever it was. And so the little man thing set in, and bulldogging's a big man's event, is what every announcer says, it's not true, but that's what every announcer says, and so just a lot of mental stuff, having to figure out that, you don't have to be that big to be good at this, and you don't have to have all the money and all the answers and all the rigs and all the stuff. It's just, man, if you love something, you'll put your effort into it. And so if I'm honest, the biggest thing's been the 6 inches between my ears. That's probably the biggest struggle in all of it.
Yeah, and I can see, like I said, there's a lot of just anybody in life could find an aspect like that, when they're chasing their goals and stuff and getting out of your own way, a lot of times is that biggest struggle. But but like I said, to be right now, most likely sitting number 2 in the UPRA, sitting number 1 in the CPRA, and an opportunity to, crack into that Southeastern Circuit. I mean, it seems like your mental mindset and, your mindset's really strong right now. That's for sure, man. And we, wish you the best of luck getting down the road and finishing out this 2025 season. And so when you're looking at kind of what's up next, where are you headed down the road next?
This coming weekend, we've got, there's 4, I'm entered Mineola, there's 3 amateurs, and then Mesquite is a pro rodeo. That's this coming weekend, and the next weekend, it gets busy right here for a little bit, especially in the amateur scene. There's a lot of rodeos right around here for the next 2-3 months. And then honestly, it's kind of neat because for the Southeast circuit, it kind of dies down right here in the summer because it's hot.
Yeah.
So there's a few rodeos here and there, but like Mesquite counts and stuff like that. But the amateurs really pick up big right about now. And so kind of works in my favor. So I can kind of go hit the amateur deal and go do what I want to do there. And then as it kind of peters off there, we can start running hard at the end of those Southeast circuit rodeos, come September and October.
Yeah, that does work out well. And so just for my known knowledge and the audience is, so Mesquite counts towards the Southeast circuit. Is that?
Yes, sir, it does. I think it may count. I know it counts to Texas, and I believe it counts to the Prairie, Southeast, and Texas. I know it counts to Texas and the Southeast, but I'm not sure about Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's nice though to be able to have that, and especially have that kind of close to home for you, like you said, and that goes back too. I mean, a lot of times you see these guys, and you're kind of one of them where, why leave home too much, right? A lot of times you're making money and maybe the top dollar might not be as high, but the return on your investment, right? Your actual profit margin is pretty high when you don't have to go too far and living where you live and the amount of rodeos you can get to. So, well, that's great, man. I sure do appreciate you taking the time and being here with us today, and look forward to kind of following your season and hope to have you back on maybe right towards the end of the year there and kind of seeing what all comes of the year for you.
Yes, sir. I'd love that. I appreciate you, man. This is cool.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, thanks so much. Have a good rest of your rodeo season, and we'll be following you and tracking you down and making sure to see how that season ends up. But thanks a lot, Chase. Folks, this is Cody Wood with the Woodshed on the Equus Radio Network. Make sure to stay tuned for our next episode.
If you enjoyed the podcast, let us know. Contact Cody Wood at cody@equustelevision.net. Thanks for listening, and join us every week right here on the Equus Radio Network.